listening to so many people speak is perhaps not the most interesting thing in the world, but try to listen carefully, because this is the format that is used for the inter-school debates. And many of you, I remember one little girl who came and said that she'd like to go for an inter-school debate. So this is the best way to actually observe what they do, right? I think everyone's settled, so let us begin with the very first bout, which will be the first session between Condon House and Foy House. And as we all know, the topic is fashion is overpriced, hyped, and serves no purpose, right? Overpriced, extremely expensive, hyped, given a lot more attention than should be given to it, right? Now let us sit up straight. Already people are ready for the flight, isn't it? Sit up straight. No air hostesses are going to be serving you anything, so sit up quickly. Thank you. That's like good boys and girls. So let's begin with the very first speaker, and the term is the Prime Minister. That is the first speaker for the proposition. That is Olivia Mary Raj. Olivia, it's all yours.
Painful. Designer clothes don't make you beautiful, and even the most successful models are thoroughly miserable. Tanya Good. Good afternoon to the House at large. I, Olivia Mary Raj, the Prime Minister of the Sai Proposition, and Devansh Negi is the Deputy Prime Minister, and Shimedi Cruz is the Chief Whip. Before sharing my views on the given topic, I will tell you the meaning of the 4 keywords present. First, fashion is a popular or the latest style of clothing, hair, decoration or behavior. Second, overpriced is something that is too expensive or costs more than it's worth. Third, hype is to promote a product or idea, often exaggerating its benefits. And fourth, purpose means the reason for which something exists. In my debate, I will be explaining why I believe that fashion is overpriced, hyped, and serves no purpose. Fashion is overpriced. Students in our school itself wear shoes near the cost of rupees 10,000 to rupees 30,000. One might compliment them once or twice, but at the end of the day, they are only a pair of shoes. The only reasons I could find why people buy them is that they are made by popular brands or that they are trendy. The Deputy Prime Minister will elaborate on the overpricing of fashion in his debate. My second point is why we believe that fashion is hyped. The greatest proof of this fact is all that time that is spent on it. People spend hours shopping, wasting all of that time just to buy a handful of clothes. Now, if that is not hype, I don't know what is. Fashion's importance and benefits are exaggerated way too much. All of that time can be spent so much more productively. Then why do we spend it so pointlessly in something so fickle as fashion? Moving on to my third point. I believe fashion serves no purpose. All it does is waste our time and money. The opposition today might say that fashion gives a person confidence, but I would like to tell them that confidence is false. One's confidence should depend on their self-esteem and self-respect, not on any other outward aspects. Jackie Burkhardt, the fashion-conscious member of the gang on that 70s show, feels more secure in her brand name clothes. Is she right? Are our clothes just a fake armor against insecurities that we must face from within? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Olivia. As I mentioned before, some of these children are new to this format. So if at any time you feel you need to ask a question or even want a particular term, please go ahead and ask, right? It's not going to be taken in any other way. So let's move to the leader of the opposition. That is for Foy House. Ria, please go ahead. Thank you.
A very good afternoon to this august house. I, Ria Bisht, as the leader of the opposition, have three key roles to perform. I must define the key phases in the topic, acquaint you with the points that my team members will be exploring, and provide you with substantial evidence to convince you that fashion is not overpriced. Today, the deputy leader of the opposition will be speaking about how fashion isn't overhyped and is most certainly functional and a very necessary part of our lives. And the member of the opposition will be consolidating our team's stand with examples. Firstly, ladies and gentlemen, what is fashion? Fashion is a popular or the latest style of clothing, hair, decoration or behavior. The term implies to a look defined by the fashion industry as that which is trending. Now, what do you understand by overprice? Overprice means too expensive or costing more than it is worth. First and foremost, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you, it isn't fashion that is overpriced. It's the labels that are overpriced. This is absolutely a myth that expensive clothes are a must for fashion. Now, you might have just one shirt, but if you know how to style it in 10 other ways, now that is fashion. Fashion is about being creative. It is all about how you can combine various combinations of matching colors and patterns. When it comes to quality, there are a lot of people who talk about quality but can't explain what quality actually is. I have seen cheap clothing that outlast expensive ones. So it isn't essential that expensive clothes are better in quality. Fashion not only talks about clothing but also other things. One of them, which is behavior. Now, ladies and gentlemen, what do you understand by behavior? Behavior is the way one acts or conducts oneself, especially towards others. The way of talking might vary. It might be different, but not the style of talking, as the manner we talk in is the fashion. So, how can you say that behavior is overpriced? Fashion is not about buying Prada or Gucci bags if they are hyped. People always have alternatives. It isn't necessary for you to buy those bags. Instead, you could find the same thing, in the same design at a tremendously cheaper cost, and you can use it overly guilt-free. Fashion brings unity. Okay, so let me be clear about what I mean by fashion. Fashion is not to be confused with style. Style is personal, fashion is universal. Although used interchangeably, style refers to the individual, whereas fashion refers to the society. Fashion unites people. It is something external we put on. We basically wear our commonalities. For example, all of us sitting here, I mean the students, are wearing the same uniform. That is our pride. That is our fashion. And now, when people want to bring about change, their first step is to consider what will have the most impact. Clothing is one way to effectively get your point across because you wear your beliefs. We have a great example for it. All of you know about the boycott movement, when all the people in our country wore only khadi clothes. It did unite people then, it unites people now. Thank you.
Thank you, Ria. Now, before I call the Deputy Prime Minister, please don't go just now. The fourth row, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Seat 4 and 5. Both of you get up. You know who you are. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that's the fourth row. And 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Those two boys. Get up quickly. Satana, just count these and just get them to sit in front. They've been having a whale of a time. Yeah, these two, exactly. They've been, no, not this one. The one next to him and the one next to him. 4 and 5. Yes, get up. Don't say me. Hurry up and sit over here. You're supposed to be listening. You've been really partying over there. Talking, smiling. And I can see all of you. So the next person doing that is going to come here. If you want that kind of attention, go right ahead. Sadhana, I hope you'll help me. Because they really need to be told that they need to sit up and listen. That's why we have debates. Thank you so much, Satyanand. We continue with the Deputy Prime Minister. That would be the second speaker of the proposition. And that would be Devansh.
Good morning to one and all present here today. I, Devansh Negi from Condon House, will now continue with the Prime Minister's debate and will further elaborate mainly upon 2 points, namely, how fashion serves no purpose and is overpriced. Firstly, people do not wish to wear the same clothing time and again. They wish to wear something different, something unique, something attractive. So, it just doesn't make sense to keep piling up your clothes, increase your wardrobe and never really wear them ever again. Instead, that money could have been used for some other purpose, maybe investing in your family's future or contributing to a social cause. People throw away their old clothes and they become nothing but waste. Even the production process has a large negative effect on our surroundings. The fashion industry produces 20% of the global wastewater and 10% of the global carbon emission. A staggering 300,000 tons of clothes are sent to the British landfills each year. Luxury. Luxury used to be a synonym for quality, but over the past 15 years, at some point, things have changed. Fashion labels have always traded on their most intangible asset, brand. Though there is 1,000 ways to slice precisely what brand means, a large part of it is the feeling you get when you purchase something. You buy a Volvo, you feel safe. You wear a Rolex, you feel like a baller. Since we equate cost and quality, we assume we have invested in something crafted by the best artisans using the best material available. According to Rapkin, over the last decade, brands have increasingly exploited this assumption for profit. The prices have surely gone up, but the quality went the other way around. Models and celebrities tend to wear expensive clothes, like maybe something encrusted with diamonds or some designer clothing, which is obviously worth several lakhs. They are the face of social media. Their actions influence the common public. If they all promote something specifically, let's say a Louis Vuitton bomber jacket, which is actually one of the current fashion trends, the public feels the great urge to follow their idols. In India, the average salary of a person per month is around 50 to 70,000, and if each person goes around buying a 50,000 rupees bomber jacket, how do you expect them not to drown in debts and instead contribute to the society? Designer brands aside, even the regular clothing for fashion is costly for the normal middle class families nowadays. Not everyone can afford a 2,000 rupee Nike t-shirt or maybe a 10,000 rupee super dry jacket or a CK jeans which should be worth around 15,000, I guess. Even Vogue has tried to state the right price of fashion. Fabric, pattern making, sampling, sewing, trims, hard work. It's just a long list of what you get. But even if you add it all up, it is not worth more than $5 per t-shirt, let alone $500. Even that seems preposterous, if not criminal. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Devansh. So, Olivia, you asked a question, right? Would you like to ask it? Right, so it's a very good question. I'm glad you asked, right? And that's one way of telling you that even during an inter-school debate, if you wish to ask a question, do, right? In a polite way. So how do you start your rebuttal, right? So for now, what you're doing is you're listening to everybody, right? And you're picking up points, okay? So you can refer to the speakers by their titles. You understand that? The leader of the opposition said, okay? And in a very polite way, you try to break down the point, whatever point has been made by the other person. Okay, if you have statistics, if you have a counter argument, whatever it is that you'd like to present, right, to focus the attention of the people judging on the fact that the logic that was presented, do you understand that, doesn't hold water, right? So that is what you do, each side. Okay, everybody? That's what you do. So when everyone's done, we give you some time and you discuss and you scribble, right? And you got 3 minutes. So maybe you could pick up 4 points, right? Or 3. Okay, so we continue with the debate now. And I'd like to request the Deputy Leader of the Opposition, Nawang Topton, to please present his views. Thank you.
Good morning to the House at large. I, Nawang Topton, as the Deputy Leader of the Opposition, would like to consolidate my team's stand by providing examples and valid arguments to prove that fashion is not overhyped and it most certainly serves its purpose. Now, speaking in broad terms, what would you consider fashion as? Fashion in general terms refers to dressing or your behavior which is favored at a time or a place. To say that fashion is overhyped is an overstatement. Fashion isn't something that has started just recently. Fashion has been progressing and evolving alongside mankind since ancient times. To discuss this topic furthermore, we need to know the meaning of hyping up something. To hype up something means to intensively promote or publicize something, often exaggerating its benefits. Following this definition, there are many clothing brands like Nike, Zara and Louis Vuitton which often publicize their brands and hype up their clothing with the help of celebrities in commercials, movies, magazines and articles. People who blindly follow the current trend are the type who often buy clothes from these stores, thinking that just because the clothes they buy is from a famous brand, they become fashionable. Fashion is not just wearing clothes of famous brands, but it is also the clothes that you use in your everyday life. Just a simple t-shirt and jeans is also considered fashionable. For example, you also have various sportswear for playing different sports. Office workers often wear different kinds of shirts, suits and ties. These clothes are also considered to be fashionable, but to say that it's just a specific way of dressing for a certain work just doesn't make any sense. Now, would I wear a suit and go play tennis? Obviously not. If I were to play that sport, I would choose my own sportswear, which is my choice of fashion. So saying that fashion is overhyped is just foolish, because it is a part of us and the choice depends on us. We all have to wear clothes and every piece of clothing we wear represents our personal choice. There are people who have already started to realize it, to think how you feel when you wear these clothes. Do they matter? Do they match your choice? And are they up to your personal style? Choosing your own style and being praised for it gives you a sense of self and worth. While it isn't wrong to follow the trends and get yourself some popular clothes, are they really what you want? If given the option, everybody would want to present themselves at their best. Fashion is the freedom of expression. It gives you your individuality and shows your authenticity and imagination you have. Choosing your own clothes and the combination in which you wear them expresses your inner self even more. In this day and age, there is not a single person who wouldn't judge you based on the clothes you wear and the way you behave. During the olden times in Europe, women of noble and wealthy families would dress up to their best because the way they appeared and presented themselves would have a huge impact in their positions in society. So, for the people who say that fashion does not serve a purpose, they must be living in the sweet world, because from a long time ago, fashion has been used everywhere. Some people view fashion as an ephemeral and frivolous existence, but through fashion, we are able to present ourselves, our personalities, and build connections. Ending my debate, I would like to say what we choose to wear reflects how we view ourselves and how we want the world to view us. And fashion will continue to evolve as it has been doing since the past. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Nawang. Right. Now I'd request the Chief Whip for the proposition, and that would be Shamay to please present her views.
afternoon to the House at large. As the Chief Whip, I will summarize a few points that my fellow speakers shared in their debates. Starting off with the overpriced retailing of fashion. Why does a decent t-shirt cost as much as it does? Some will argue about its quality, but you get what you pay for. While that's true to a degree, well-made clothing needn't cost a lot. Smarter business models and more transparency for the customer means that, in theory, we should be able to buy good quality wares at decent prices. It is simply due to largely immoral, unethical and avaricious objective of dominant fashion corporates who make up for a large, if not complete, percentage of the industry. Moving on to my second point, hype. Hype in marketing is a strategy of using extreme publicity. Hype as a modern marketing strategy is closely associated with social media. Marketing through hype often uses artificial scarcity to induce demand. Consumers of hype products often participate as a form of conspicuous consumption to signify characteristics about themselves, which is exactly what takes place in a fashion and clothing industry. A product's potential viral impact is something brands and retailers are considering more and more. Some pieces go viral for their unusual eyebrow-raising designs, while others take off as a result of deliberate build-up of consumer demand. Advanced previews to create demand, deliberately provocative design designed to gain attention. The viral product phenomenon is making an impact across the fashion industry, which detrimental effects such as the indulgence in capitalism and consumerism. One sector that is well geared to exploit on this is fast fashion, which segues to my next argument. Fashion production makes up 10% of humanity's carbon emissions, dries up water sources and pollutes rivers and streams. What's more, 85% of all textiles go to the dump each year, and washing some types of clothes send a significant amount of microplastics in the ocean. Globally, the fashion industry is the second most polluting industry after the oil and gas sector. These significant and damaging facts and statistics just go to prove how harmful and injurious fashion has become to our postmodern era of wastage and the use and discard attitudes and perspectives we have developed. Finally, I would like to emphasize my final point, which is fashion serves no real purpose. While some may argue it is a form of art or creative expression, what is the practical purpose of it? Does this extremely expensive, eco-unfriendly and overrated sphere of supposed art really cost us our planet, independent thinking and bank accounts? Certainly not. Fashion as its core simply fulfills our basic needs for garments and clothing needed to survive in civilized society. The coercion multinational corporations have plagued us with and will only lead us to calamitous results. I would like to conclude my debate by reaffirming the points which have already been highlighted by the Prime Minister and the Deputy, that fashion in the true sense serves zero purpose in enhancing the way in which we carry ourselves as human beings. Thank you.
Thank you, Shule. Thank you very much. Please sit up, everybody, very quickly. All the sleeping beauties. Quickly, very quickly, at the back as well. Your world will not fall apart, right, if you get rest later. Right, so sit up, please. And now I'd like to request Angirma as the Chief Whip for the proposition to present her views.
Ladies and gentlemen, a very renowned fact that is accepted worldwide states that first impression is the last impression. Good afternoon to the House at large. Today, I, Angirma, stand for you as the member of the opposition and in my utmost duty to bolster the arguments made by the leader and the deputy leader of the opposition. My first constructive argument would prove to you that expensive clothes doesn't mean it is widely considered aesthetic, and you can find better things for half of the price you spent while buying the expensive clothes you thought was fashionable. Taking the example of popular baggy clothes. So what are baggy clothes? Baggy clothes are those types of clothes which hang loosely on our bodies. They are in trend budget-friendly, and people feel sense of comfort in these clothes. This example clearly contradicts the statement that fashion is overpriced. My second constructive argument would prove to you that fashion is not hyped. Fashion is not hyped despite the rapidly developing means of communication. Social media is one platform through which everything, including fashion, can be hyped. But that's not happening because people today are better educated. Although modern IT has reached great heights, conventional print media, especially dealing with fashion, is still strong. Their print quality and content have improved, and with better educated readers, people can make a sober judgment of what's good in fashion and what is not. For example, fashion magazines as well as other media platforms on fashion cater to the needs of only the interested. And that's why fashion is not hyped. In modern times, people want to walk abreast even in fashion, as today's world is a rapidly changing world. My third constructive argument would prove to you that fashion serves a purpose. Fashion has the ability to change and shape lives through its personal connection to us all. Fashion has been and always be a constant part of our existence. It is more than an amped-up dress-up. It's a reflection of who we are and what we believe in. The fashion industry contributes to society by allowing us to express ourselves and our creativity. Fashion does more than reflect, it changes society. After all, whether or not you choose to use fashion as an art form, one would be hard-pressed to deny that fashion is a form of self-expression, and self-expression is a kind of art. Your decision to not keep up with trends speaks towards your beliefs. You can't get away from what your style says about you, and because it can say so much, it can be a driving force of change, not just a reflection. Take, for the example, the death of the white wedding. While many brides still wear white wedding dresses, it is by no means a necessity. In a desire to freely express sexual liberation, many women decided to wear different colored wedding dresses. Thus, we can confidently say that fashion indeed does serve a purpose. It helps us gain more self-confidence. Fashion also allows us to express ourselves and our personality more freely. It also encourages us to expand our creativity through fashion. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So now you can all sit together, right? The two teams, and you can write your rebuttal. Could you please time it? Okay, you start and let me know when the 2 minutes are up. Now, while they're doing that, if someone would like to come and say something, we could utilize these 2 minutes, right, while they're writing the rebuttal speeches. So if there's anybody, a student who'd like to say something, you could. Right? Come up now and share your views with us. Class 12, class 10, 11, 12. Do you think that fashion is overpriced, hyped, and serves no purpose? We all follow fashion. We all do. All age groups. You, I, all of us. And it isn't bad to follow fashion. So anybody wanting to say something, you can come up now. Not a lot of people though. Now first sit up. First sit straight. First sit straight. Let's do the first thing first. So there's one. Come, quickly. Come from there. You needn't come from here. Come from there. Because we just have 2 minutes. Come up from there. Doesn't matter. Right? We just have 2 minutes, after which we have the rebuttal. So very quickly if you'd like to say something.
Yes, ma'am. Why the fashion has become overpriced? It has become so expensive as factories have to spend more money when buying materials to make clothes because of inflation. Thank you.
The reason why I'm asking you to come up now is because we might not have a lot of time later, right? Because we have another debate lined up between Allen and Pal. That's the reason why. So if you'd like to come up, please do come up. And hats off to all those children who like to make use of this opportunity. You will need it at some time in your life. Anybody? Class 7? Okay, how many of you like fashion? Let's see. How many of you blindly follow it? Just follow it. Just blindly follow it. Very good. We've got confessions. Right. Just give them 10 seconds more. Right? I think they're writing. How many of you think that you have your own unique sense of style? Oh, wow, that's awesome. Okay, we finished with the time, so when the next debate gets over, I'll ask you to come up. Thank you so much. Right. Are we done, children? Okay, give them 10 more seconds then. Okay, now don't scream, okay? Say it. Who do you think is the most fashionable and stylish person on this earth? Yes? Oh, wow. We have an opinion, which is good. That is debating. You're very clear about what you consider fashion, so that's great, right? So we just give them some more time because it is the first time for them, and then we continue. So now I'd like to request Shamay to please present her rebuttal as the first speaker, the Prime Minister. Oh, it would be, okay, you doing it? You're doing it. Right, okay. Olivia was the first speaker, I'm sorry.
Good afternoon again. If fashion is about latest trends, let's say distressed jeans, the preference of today's youth between a product from some local shop or Levi's, one would certainly prefer the latter. Therefore, fashion is inevitably related to brands and their goodwill. Fashion at the time when people wore khaki meant different from what it means today. At that time, it was a movement. People were fighting a war. It was a rebellion. But now, fashion is only to prove yourself to the world. Fashion is to feel popular, to feel cool. And even if you're wearing a hoodie these days and you wear it for comfort, you do spend time in front of the mirror to look at yourself and again to try and style it in some way. But fashion is different than styling, like how the opposition said. And fashion is not, fashion is overpriced, hyped, and it serves no purpose because it is designing which helps you to express yourselves. And confidence, the chief whip of the opposition spoke about confidence, how fashion gives you confidence. But confidence is not something that you should get from your outward appearances. It should not depend on what you are wearing, how you are looking, how the world looks at you. Your confidence should come from within, how you respect yourself, how much self-esteem you have, or what your abilities are. Fashion is not supposed to give you confidence. And also, the opposition mentioned that the first impression is the last impression. But all these upcoming trends are slowly taking away the purpose of living, because nowadays all that people do is care about what others think about them instead of prioritizing other work. And somebody also said that we can combine materials to make outfits, but combining materials also makes waste. All of that material will have waste from each material, and all of this waste will be going in dumps, oceans, and this will create more waste. So fashion, I can say, is overpriced and hyped and literally serves no purpose. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Olivia. Leah, are you ready with your rebuttal? Please go ahead.
As the Prime Minister of the proposition said in a debate that shoes, like she said in a debate, that it is just a pair of shoes at the end of the day. Yes, it exactly is a pair of shoe only. If you can carry out any pair of shoe well, that is fashion. Because in my debate, I think I said fashion is all about being creative. And And in the second point, she focused that why waste time on something as fickle as fashion. I don't agree to this at all, because fashion is necessary. Now, I don't think you would like to go out in a pair of unmatched clothes looking like a lunatic. Everybody likes to groom themselves, as that is the fashion nowadays. And she said in a debate that fashion, like I said, the Khadi movement, it was Khadi first of all, not Khaki. And Khadi movement was a movement which really did bring a lot of change, and it at least united people. And then hoodies. Obviously, everybody likes to wear hoodies nowadays. And every hoodie has a style. If you wear a hoodie and you just pair it up with a pair of jeans, it does look good. And everybody likes to be groomed. And the second speaker of the proposition said in his debate that why to keep clothes piling up and their wardrobe filling, exactly like I said in my debate, that if you can style a shirt in 10 different ways, then that is fashion. Fashion is all about being creative. It is not overpriced. It is not overhyped. It is how you carry it out. It is about your perception about how you want to style and how you look at style. Fashion is about comfort, because like whatever you wear and you can carry it well and you are comfortable in that, that is fashion. For example, if I just come down in my track pants and I pair it up with some nice jacket or something, I look good. That is because fashion comes in again. Nowadays, nobody likes to be made fun of or nobody likes to be laughed at. That is why everybody grooms themselves. And fashion is necessary and will always be necessary. Thank you.
A very loud round of applause for these brave souls, right? Thank you very much. Thank you, Conway and Troy. Thank you very much. You can, go down and take your seats over there, and we have, or if you choose to sit here, whatever. Yeah, please do. Right? And we begin with the next session between Pal and Alan. Alright? I call them brave souls because it is a new format for many. And I can see so many new faces as well. So we begin with the next topic, which is a tech-savvy world is a happy world, right? And the Prime Minister, that is the first speaker for the proposition, is Stuti Saraugi. Stuti, all yours. Thank you.
Good afternoon to the House at large. I, Stuti Saraugi, will be acting as the Prime Minister and talking about the economical aspect of today's motion, which is tech-savvy world is a happy world. The Deputy Prime Minister, Riya Goyal, will be talking about the psychological aspect, and the Chief Whip, Firaz Khan, will be talking about the scientific aspect. I would like to start by defining the key term, tech-savvy, which means having a good understanding of modern technology or being technologically literate. I would also like to take the liberty to assume that the House today consists of rational thinkers who can comprehend what a happy world implies. Finland. I'm sure every person seated in this auditorium has heard of the European country Finland. Well, as per the United Nations rankings, it's the happiest country in the world. And surprisingly, Finland has added a new title to its collection, Global Technology Powerhouse. The concept of happiness is complex and likely impossible to quantify in any precise way. It's a largely subjective experience that differs widely across cultures. Overall, there appear to be at least two potential opportunities for countries that may be related to its people's happiness. Improve access to technology, and once the infrastructure is in place, cultivate trust, transparency, freedom in how it is regulated and advanced. It is also worth pointing out that technology is not limited to just hardware and software. A mobile phone in itself does not make someone happy, ladies and gentlemen. The way it enables communication, socialization, learning, productivity, development, or some other extension of human capability does. Technology has contributed extensively to development and progress of our country. What is irrefutable is the fact that technology is the new normal. During times like the COVID-19 pandemic, when the economy of every nation was to the ground and almost shattered, it was the internet that provided employment. It was the internet that continued education, ladies and gentlemen. It was the internet that maintained some normality in the midst of chaos. So how does it not lead to a happy world? Let's not limit the definition of employment, because ladies and gentlemen, it does not only mean sitting behind a desk or working in a factory. It has a wider definition now. People are working as social media influencers. Some are teaching on YouTube. Website designers, stocks and investors. Technology has led to exposure and has opened up so many options for people that they are now generating income by doing things they love, by doing things they enjoy. How does this not lead to a happier world? Technology has helped economies of developing countries by reducing costs of production and advancing communication. There is knowledge everywhere and anywhere. And how do you think this works? This works because of technological literacy, ladies and gentlemen, because it is our technology that disseminates information by the click of a button and spreads awareness in the blink of an eye. How can you say it's a sad world with all this knowledge? So let's evolve ourselves and keep up with the changing times, because in the end, it is technology on which you will rely. With this, I'm proud to propose.
Thank you, Stuti. Could the senior students at the back please sit straight? I wouldn't like to call out your names. I don't want to call out your names. Especially some 12C students right there. Right? Please sit upright. I don't think you'd like it if I were to call out your names. So in order to prevent that from happening, please sit the way you're supposed to be sitting. Thank you so much. So we continue with the next speaker. That would be the the leader of the opposition. And the leader of the opposition is Amritesh Singh.
The human spirit must prevail over technology. Albert Einstein. Good afternoon to the House at large. The key words in today's topic are tech savvy and happy world. The word tech savvy means being well informed about or proficient in the use of modern technology. And a happy world, according to me, is one in which love prevails over hate. Good overcomes evil. Where the crime rate is low, where people feel safe around each other, living in harmony and have empathy but not apathy. From this assessment of a happy world, what one can understand is that having technological expertise does not translate to more happiness. The so-called happiness that we get from a tech-savvy world is the feeling of instant gratification which serves no purpose to a person in the longer term. As the first speaker of the opposition today, I would like to discuss the situation of the 3 C's in today's tech-savvy world, which are countries, celebrities, and citizens. The technology that promised to unite us has divided us. Each one of us is electronically connected to the globe, and yet we feel utterly unknown. Cyber attacks with the intention of spying, sabotage, shut down electrical power grids, economic disruption, and propaganda have become a common occurrence in countries all over the globe who claim to be tech savvy. You look at the ongoing war between Russia and Ukraine. Cyber warfare has become crucial in setting up the fate of the 2 warring factions. This is why, ladies and gentlemen, Mikhailo Fedorov, the first Vice Prime Minister and Minister of Digital Information of Ukraine, established an IT army on the 25th of February 2022 with the primary aim of retaliatory cyber warfare against Russia. Even post the Galwan Valley altercation between India and China, the Maharashtra Cyber Cell reported a spike in the number of cyber attacks on Indian computers. These cyber attacks were done with the primary aim of paralyzing the Indian economy and informatics. The technology that has solved old economic problems has given us new psychological problems. Today, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to apprise you of a certain term. What is this term? The term I would like to use is social media detox. Now you might wonder what exactly is social media detox. Well, in simple terms, social media detox or digital detox is a period of time when a person refrains from using devices such as computers, phones, or he deactivates his social media account. And this trend has increased excessively among celebrities. Selena Gomez, Tom Holland, Amir Khan, Ed Sheeran, to name a few, are among prominent celebrities who deactivated their social media accounts because they felt that it was overwhelming and overstimulating. Now the question I would like to ask all of you is, if the technology is making the world a happier place, then why do such influential and powerful people suffer from excessive trolling and abusive language from users, especially during tough phases of their career? This is because addiction of technology has totally cut man from nature. His mind is completely occupied with itself, totally disintegrated, lacking peace and tranquility. For us, that is the citizens or the common people, I will agree, yes, we can connect with our loved ones like never before. We can make new friends and we can get caught up with all the latest updates on the internet. But at what cost? A disintegrated mind leads to action which is fragmentary, not comprehensive. An action which is not comprehensive will only lead to sorrow, not happiness. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Amritesh. Could the class 11 students please sit up? Do I have to take your names? I don't want to. But if I have to, then I will. Right? Sit up straight. I can still see heads like this. That's how I come to know you're sleeping. You're not supposed to be sitting like this. So sit up very quickly. Thank you. Right? So let's continue with the second speaker for the, I think that would be opposition, the Deputy Prime Minister, that is Riya Goyal.
As the Deputy Prime Minister of the proposition, I will be talking about the psychological aspect of this topic. We as social beings constantly need to feel a sense of connection with the people around us. Socialization is the process that human beings engage in from the time they are born till death. It is a process that is unavoidable and a necessity in one's life. One major element of the COVID-19 induced lockdown was physical distancing, which posed a significant challenge for people's social connections. The sole factor that was identified as the reason for people's happiness and well-being was the use of digital media and advanced technology to help them stay connected. At the outset of the pandemic, apps like Zoom, Google Meet, House Party saw a rise in their interactions. These apps did pose as a distraction, but when one thinks about how to overcome this, conversations inevitably turn to disengaging technology, like limiting screen time, deleting apps, and taking breaks from social media. But what if we approach these issues in a different way and think about how to create well-being while using technology? Digital wellness is about finding a balance and the right way to use technology imparted to us. Times are changing, and with it, we too have to evolve ourselves. Why should we deprive ourselves of the technology that is present for our benefit in order to be happy?
Since every story has two sides, in the same way, technology too has its own good and bad aspects. Instead of always focusing on the negative side of it, we must look at the positive side too. According to a research conducted by Pew Research Center in 2018, responded by 1,150 experts, 47% of the respondents predict that individuals' well-being will be more helped than harmed by digital life in the next decade. Today's generation struggles a lot with mental health issues, be it teenagers or older people. And at a time when mental health issues are being discussed without any stigma attached to it, technology plays a huge role. People talk about their issues on social media, which helps them to connect with other people going through the same issues, and at the same time helps them to take out the negative feelings imbued inside them. Knowing that one's loved ones are just a call or text away, no matter how far they are, serves as a reassurance that they're not alone. In fact, social media and advanced technology has allowed us to form new relationships and be a part of communities and initiatives people otherwise would not have been a part of. Ladies and gentlemen, a tech-savvy world can be a happy world if we know how to use the technology in a way that does more good to us than harm. Every action has consequences, which may be negative or positive, and people who engage in technology are fully aware of that fact. Just because a handful do not use technology efficiently, we cannot stop human evolution and go centuries backwards. Thank you.
Thank you, dear. Now, this is just to tell you, because the children did not get a lot of time, that's why, but overshooting. Now, if a particular speaker hits the 4-minute mark, that's when the second bell is going to be rung, which you heard before, right? 10 seconds, 15 seconds, all right. But don't go beyond that, please, all right? That's a big no-no, right? So once you hit that 4-minute mark, she'll give you a double bell, okay? So that means that you've reached that point, okay? Because you didn't get a lot of time, that's the reason why I allowed it this once. But the next time, it'll just have to be 3 minutes and a little over. Right, so we continue with the deputy leader, that is the second speaker of the proposition, Aisha Singh.
Technology, the outcome of accumulated information and the application of abilities, techniques, and procedures utilized in scientific study and industrial production. The supposed messiah of our contemporary world. Americans, Europeans, and East Asians enjoyed economic and technological advancements in the 20th century that were inconceivable in former centuries. We've seen more technological growth in the last 10 years than we saw in the 100 years before that. And it seems we've only grown less happier. What gives? If technology has the potential to solve almost every other logistical inherent to the human condition, shouldn't we be able to wield it to become happy? Japan is arguably the most striking illustration of how development has had minimal bearing on what economists refer to as people's subjective well-being. Japan's economy underwent a complete transformation between 1960 and the late 80s. The country evolved from a low-cost producer of inexpensive manufactured goods to now what is conceivably the most technologically advanced civilization in the world. The country's GDP quadrupled in that time, yet the Japanese claimed that by the late 1980s, they were no happier than they had been in the 1960s. And while national and widespread development is crucial, we must also analyze the effect tech has had on individuals' and communities' happiness. In order to determine how technology affects happiness and emotional growth, Stanford University conducted a study in 2012 to discern if technology and the internet stunted growth. They started by going through the internet behaviors of 8 to 12-year-old girls. It was concluded that those who spend large amounts of time using multimedia characterized themselves in ways that suggested they are less happy and less socially comfortable than peers who claim to spend less time on screens, evaporating euphoria. The University of Gothenburg, Sweden, found that intensive use of cell phones and computers can be linked to an increase in stress, sleep disorders, and depressive symptoms in young adults. Time and again, it has been proven that technology, whilst making life more efficient, has simply just reduced one's overall contentment and satisfaction in life. However, there is one community that remains immensely optimistic: the Amish. Relatively, their rates of depression are incredibly low, their levels of contentment are consistently high, and when asked to rate their level of agreement with the statement, "You are satisfied with your life," on a scale of 1 to 10, the Pennsylvania Amish come out to be just as content as members of the Forbes 400, 400 of the most richest people on this planet. However, the majority of what we consider modern technology is not used by the Amish. They don't rely on cars or the internet, and they appear to value permanency and stability over the exhilarating expansion that fuels innovation and the American economy. Is it possible that technology is confining us rather than liberating us? Are we simply on a treadmill of technological advancement? And if so, would we be happier if we stepped off? Technology, simply put, has done and achieved plenty for humanity, but comprehensively has contracted human relations, thinking, growth, and happiness. Thank you.
Faraz Khan is the Chief Whip for the proposition, and he will be presenting his views now.
The advance of technology is based on making it fit in so that you don't even really notice it, because it's a part of your everyday life. Bill Gates. Good afternoon to the House at large. As the Chief Whip, I will be consolidating my team's stand. I will be dwelling upon the scientific aspects of how a tech-savvy world is a happy world. Most of the stuff that we do is sometimes impossible, and it is done by technology. My first constructive argument is about how science and technology are closely related to each other. Science and technology go hand in hand. They help each other advance. Technology helps boost the efficiency and accuracy of the scientists. Scientific knowledge helps create new technologies. New technologies often allow scientists to explore nature in different ways and make new discoveries. Examples of technologies that have helped science advance include the telescope and microscope. My second constructive argument is about the contribution of technology to the medical field. The medical field can make discoveries regarding symptoms, data collection, disease research, cure research, treatments, and aiding devices such as hearing devices, speaking devices, and prosthetic parts. My third constructive argument is about the benefits of technology to engineers. Before, engineers had to draw complicated diagrams to show what they had in mind, but sometimes the clients didn't understand their idea and rejected it. But not in today's world. Technology is very beneficial for engineers. The 3D designing software helps the engineers to design whatever they want without any limitations. No one would prefer a complicated diagram over a 3D model in their devices. Technology affects the way that architects design buildings in their devices. And it also affects the clients because they have a new experience of the design process. Technology can improve building efficiency and durability while making it easier for architects to more accurately render a building design. Same goes for cars, structures, etc. My fourth constructive argument is about how programmers have helped the world to advance with technology. In today's world, manual labor is very less required because the programmers can program the machine to do the tasks automatically. Programmers are today's top career in the technology industry. Every app, device, website, etc. is made possible by programs. Ending my debate, I would like to say that technology has changed how people process things, and it has changed how people live their lives with efficiency and accuracy. Technology makes us all happy. When your life is made easier for you, why not be happy? Technology is the reason we're a happy world. Thank you.
Thank you, Faraz. I'd like to call on Himanshi Kathek as the Chief Whip for the proposition to present his views.
A babbling brook, a refreshing gust of cold wind, green trees everywhere, with beautiful birds perched upon them and chirping happily. And then comes the sound of a drill machine. Breaks the utopian picture, doesn't it? Good afternoon to the House at large. As our Prime Minister and Deputy Prime Minister have already talked about the negative consequences of technology on celebrities, citizens and countries, I would now like to dwell upon the two key points of today's topic: tech savvy and a happy world. Happiness. What is happiness? There is no definite meaning of happiness. Everyone has their own version for it. It could be sitting alone and watching the sunset for one and playing games with friends for the other. Tech savvy. Tech savvy is a means to be proficient in the use of modern technology. In this tech savvy world where everyone is proficient in the use of technology, competition and race to be the first will lead humans to reach a point where their compulsive mode and lack of consciousness about when to stop will cause them to just make more complex devices without seeing the backlash it will cause. Technological advancement cannot make us happy because it is not the job and purpose. The purpose of technology is to make our lives easier and comfortable. But as technology is getting advanced and more complex, in this tech-savvy world, it has already taken away so many people's jobs in industrial and commercial sectors, causing financial and economical problems, ultimately leading to unemployed people being sad and sometimes even forcing them to take away their own lives. All the side proposition wants to prove is that being proficient in the use of technology leads to happiness, whereas it is not even providing with its basic purpose of making our lives easier and comfortable anymore. Not even the proposition will agree if we say that our data being stolen makes anyone happy. We are so proficient in the use of technology that we just use it for baneful purposes like cybercrime, which our president has already talked about. With the advancement of technology, artificial intelligence has become a threat to human life. Elon Musk, the most influential person in today's modern technological age, himself says that artificial intelligence is far more dangerous than nukes. The wrong use of technology in military, where millions of people lose their lives and families fall apart, is the best example of how technology is not even close to make us happy. Technology is degrading with time when it comes to human benefit. In conclusion, I would just like to say that the world might not be the saddest place due to technology, but is definitely not a happy world due to the possible future outcomes. Thank you.
I think it's lunchtime, so if the MOD would like to take the girls to the dining hall, we still have boys over there and over here, while they're writing the rebuttal speech, and the remaining girls can actually come and have lunch with the boys. Is that okay? Yeah? So if you'd like to take the girls, you can, because it's all something. So the girls can go, while you write your reply speech, the boys stay here. Right? You time the reply speech, please, 2 minutes. Okay? And during this time, the girls could go for lunch. And then there'll just be a few girls left and they can have it with the boys. I don't think that would be much of a problem. Boys, sit up. There are some... Arman, where are you sitting? Yes, exactly. And you're sleeping, so sit up. There's this child over there sleeping. Can you see him? Right next to you? Yes. Now you're awake. Twelve's heads upright. That is like straight. Thank you, Malika. So now if your reply speech is ready, I'd like to request Stuti to present her reply speech.
The leader of the opposition said that a happier world is created when we think that we are not alone, when there's harmony, and that is exactly what the proposition is trying to prove. When a particular community of people are going through an unfair treatment, how do they receive support? How do we come to know about their indignation? It is through social media. Movements like #MeToo and Black Lives Matter served as necessary support and contributed immensely in providing justice. All these were produced on the internet, contributing towards a happier world. I would also like to bring to your notice companies such as Dell that are investing in students in the developing countries. Dell also has a new initiative called the Youth Learning, where they give underprivileged students access to technology that will help them learn. Isn't this leading to a happier world? The leader of opposition mentioned social media detox and various celebrities taking a break from social media. He mentioned social media, ladies and gentlemen, and not technology. By this, he implied apps like Instagram and Facebook. Without technology, there'll be a huge degrade in the progress in everyday lives. Without technology, you won't be able to communicate, and this is why people take a break from social media and not mobile phones or technology as a whole. The deputy leader mentioned technology being efficient but not being satisfying. She also mentioned confinement through technology. I would like to bring to her notice globalization, which was a product of technology which led to exposure and not confinement. Artificial intelligence was also mentioned. It is the definition of progress and not something which is degrading our development. The Chief Whip also mentioned how technology hasn't helped us. What about cars? What about mobile phones? They're almost basic necessities. The deputy leader mentioned that excessive use of devices is not good. Well, isn't that completely dependent on you and how the person chooses to use their device? The leader of opposition mentioned a disintegrated mind. I think all of us present here are quite capable of deciding what is right and what is wrong for ourselves. We need to start looking at technological advancements in a bright light and stop blaming the entire sector. We need to learn how to make use of the technology so that it does not affect us negatively. Talking about mental health, there was a research conducted which talked about how technological advancements and the internet actually helped people in isolation and people who were going through depression. A study conducted on senior citizens living alone with many experiences such as depression shows that by learning how to technologically connect with other people miles away, they were able to fight their issues and overcome depression and anxiety. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Stuti. Amritesh, I request you to please present your argument.
We turn off our computers, switch off our phones and log out from Instagram. But we don't do those things. We refuse to do those things because we believe that in those moments of silence we might actually have to look and realize who we truly are. The first speaker of the proposition today cited the example of Finland, and she said that it has recently also become one of the topmost country in terms of technological advancements. Well, I'd like to tell her that in the World Happiness Index, Finland has been leading for the past 5 years. And the factors which govern that World Happiness Index doesn't have technology as one of the key factors in it. And this also proves the opposition stance that a happier world has made Finland actually advanced in technology. She also gave the example of online education, and I will give credit where it's due. Online education has really benefited us during the pandemic. But she did divert a little from the topic, because how does online education increase the happiness of people? Because all I have seen during the period of online education is unhappiness has been spread. And how has it been spread? Well, ladies and gentlemen, the reason unhappiness has been spread due to online education is because there have been few children who haven't been able to attend their classes on a regular basis due to some reasons, and there have also been teachers who aren't that well versed with technology, and even they have struggled. And after we have come back from online education back to offline education, what all of us have noticed is that there has been a degradation in the level of students' aptitude and intellect. The second speaker of the proposition, I'd like to quote what she said. She said that we are more helped than harmed by technology, and she also said that technology can be used as a medium to take out our negative feelings. Well, what are these negative feelings, ladies and gentlemen? Does she mean when she says that we can vent out does she mean that we can vent out our anger and frustration over anyone on the internet just because our real life isn't going that well? Is that a way to become happy in this so-called tech-savvy world? And the happiness she was talking about, well, I'd like to burst the emotional bubble that has been created by the side proposition today. Well, the happiness they have been constantly referring to is the happiness one gets on sitting on the couch, looking through their phone as they realize after they have switched off their phone that they have wasted crucial hours of their life. The third speaker of the side proposition said that science and technology has, and I'll agree to this, it has benefited, but once again they have diverted from the main topic. Is it making the world a happier place, or is the advancement in science and technology leading to the increase in the accuracy of ballistic missiles, of weapons of mass destruction, and creating more sorrow and misery across the globe? And one more, I don't want to talk about worker rights, but one thing which really disturbed me is when the third speaker of your proposition said that manual labor is very less in today's world. So don't they think that if manual labor is less required, then people will lose jobs and it will cause great distress all over the world to such people. With this, I rest my case. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Amritesh. Can all of you please sit up right now? Everybody, right this minute. Sit up straight and don't loll again. I think you need to give this to ma'am. Please go give it. Please sit up, everybody. No, just that. Thank you. Yeah, this one as well. You took the wrong one. Sorry, that was... Right, if you want to come up, you may, but other than that, you don't sleep. Sit straight. Straight. Make sure those backbones are really straight. Come on. You've got one, so make use of it. Everybody, the senior students also. If you've got something to say, you can come and say it. I'm sure that you're tech savvy and it makes you very happy, isn't it? Yes or no? No? Oh, wonderful. It doesn't make you happy. All right, does it make you sad? Okay, so then what? Neutral, okay, great. Come, Avi. Isn't it wonderful that he always has something to say and you don't? Yes. That's making use of an opportunity. Yes, you'd like to say what? Favor. Please go ahead.
I will be speaking in the favor of the motion, why a tech-savvy world is a happy world. A tech-savvy world is known as a happy world because the technology is a part of happy life as it connects in with meaningful ways with others. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Who's going to tell me what is the meaning of the word savvy, since we are all sitting? Put that, yes, Krishav. All right. Just well informed? Just well informed? Anybody else would like to add to that? Nobody. Yes, please. Please do.
Smart.
Loudly.
I'm smart.
All right. Smart. That is good too. Okay. What about something else? Does it also mean that you are skilled, very skilled to use technology? Does it mean that as well? Yes or no? Yes? Yes? When you're working on your iPads, you saw?
I'm not talking in favor or against anything, but I'm the last person to call myself tech savvy, and I am always very doubtful about technology, only for the reason that all the tech devices that are produced are, I don't think, environment friendly. And I think, how do we dispose of these plastic or all those, I don't know, maybe radiating stuff? How do we manage the garbage when it is used and finished? But then tech savvy, one of us was saying that that can't bring happiness. Yes, that's true. You have to find your own happiness. But being tech savvy also helps you. We have evolved. We are no more going into to entertain ourselves. We will no more go to the villages where they sing and dance and create stories and songs and such things. Now for our entertainment or for our occupying our minds in our free time, leisure time, we, for example, me, I can work out a Sudoku or a crossword and occupy my time in my leisure time. The Kindle, which is such a boon to so many, we can have, I think, hundreds of books in without keeping it on the shelf. That's an advantage. We can store stuff, we can store movies and watch it anytime, every time, without waiting, okay, there's the television, from 6 to 9 we have this time when we can watch the movie, or we have to take the effort to walk, to transport ourselves to a movie theater. We don't need to do all that. So that's one of the advantages of being tech savvy. But at the end of the day, what are we doing to our world? How are we managing the things we are creating? Are we able to dispose of them in a natural way, or are they building up? I think in the future, at some point of time, we will take all this garbage and transport it out into the space and dump them there instead of dumping it in our ocean. But do we have the right to do that? So there are a lot of ethical things which we don't think now. We only think of the present, of the moment. But we have to think about it, about our technology causing whatever effect, good or bad, in future. But on the other side, technology has saved lives. It has connected people. And it has made us think and be more creative and imaginative. I mean, thinking of the person who got Nobel Prize in Physics, I think 5-6 years back, because of the invention of the LED light. We could have never thought that you will get a Nobel Prize for that. But obviously it has brought in a lot of advantages of progress to humankind. We are no more using the bulbs which would emanate so much of heat, more heat than light. So that is about tech. But when we talked about fashion, it actually made me nostalgic because I think the fashion is a rage amongst college students, mostly. It catches your imagination. And I remember that when I was in college, 3 of us friends, we were going to college in public transport. We did not have our own private mode of transport. And we were sitting and chatting, and at one station, bus stop, a man got up and he was dressed totally in, you could make out that he's from the rural area. He was wearing a frock and a cross between a dhoti and a churidar, and he got up. His colors, the colors of his clothes were amazing. Imaginative, creative, whatever. The 3 of us stopped talking and just looked at, we were glued to the garb that he was wearing. And when we looked around, everybody was spellbound, looking at him from top to bottom. First, it was a novelty. People wore trousers and shirts, men. But from no angle was he looking anything less than elegant. And we were having a discussion a few days back about fashion and trends and all. Of course, it has nothing to do with what it is now. But the entire journey, we just looked at him, admired the clothes, and wondered how imaginative the people from the rural area is. We were the drab blues and greys and whites, and here was a man with clothes. The background of it is white, I can still remember it, with lovely polka dots of yellow and red, and it was suiting the person so much. So and 3 of us, when we got off the bus, we said that I would like to have something like that. That is what fashion does. Takes your imagination. It doesn't have to be priced or branded. Every one of you, if you want to wear it at that time, that is what is fashion. So fashion need not be overpriced. It need not be branded. It has to be elegant, obviously, aesthetic, and something that will carry on until the next trend comes. So that is what I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Amritesh, where are you? Amritesh? In the absence of Devyan, you'll do the needful, right? So while, please go ahead. Yes.
The results are as follows. In the first debate, in 3rd place we have Devansh Negi of Condon House. In 2nd place we have Olivia Mary Raj of Condon House. And in 1st place we have Ria Best of Foy House. And the winner of the first debate is Condon House. For the rebuttal in the first debate, it has been a tie. The result is a tie between Condon and Foy House. For the second debate, the individual positions are as follows. In 3rd place, we have Aisha Singh of Pal House. In 2nd place, we have Stuti Saravgi of Allen House. And in 1st place, we have Amritesh Singh of Pal House. And Pal House has won this debate. And in the rebuttal, also Pal House has won.
All right, so quick thank yous. I know the